ọma ebunie ya elu si ya jide nke o ji na-aga n'iru biko ka anyị gbakọ kịta wee kene n'Eze-Ana Eze-Ana ego adị Eze-Ana ugochitubelu nwoke ọma na oraifite ego adị ọdịnala bụ eziokwu ọdịnala bụ ụzọ ndụ ịma na o nwere olu na-eti mkpu na-asị ụmụ Igbo chigharịa ụmụ Igbo chigharịa kwa mbọsị ọ na-eti n'ụtụtụ n'abalị ọ nọ na nkuzi Eze-Ana ugochitubelu onye ọma na oraifite onye mgbasa ozi ọma ọdịnala gaba n'iru Eze-Ana ugochitubelu onye mmanya ji eme ọnụ ọdịnala bụ ụzọ ndụ gaba n'iru Eze-Ana ugochitubelu onye ọma na oraifite onye mgbasa ozi ọma ọdịnala gaba n'iru Eze-Ana ugochitubelu onye mmanya ji eme ọnụ ọdịnala bụ ụzọ ndụ gaba n'iru Eze-Ana ga-adị ugochitubelu ga-adị ugochitubelu tempụl ọ ya adị maka na eziokwu anwa chacha ndị ụka erigo anyị front and back ndị oche eri anyị front and back fadi asị kala aka ghọrị ụmụ Igbo si anyị rapụ nke anyị na nke fe ka mma bulu Baịbụl bịa akwụkwọ akụkọ wepekwa chọọchị fa okwu n'ụka bịakwa.
Good morning, viewers all over the world. I remain Ogbuefi Eze-Ana ugochitubelu oraifite. Oraifite is in Anambra State. Abụ m onye isi nchụaja na ugochitubelu ọdịnala temple. Anyị na-agba afa mmiri ebi rụkwazị ọrụ mmụọ dị iche iche. Abụkwazị m onye isi nchụaja n'ọdịnala Restoration Evangelical Mission. Rụkwazị onye mgbasa ozi ọdịnala Igbo. So you can call me an ordinary evangelist. I will answer. My mission is to help people live better life. Today, our topic is Africa, the first son of God, part 2. Today we are here to bring the concluding part of that message that you need to know as an African child. Before we proceed, important announcement. Don't forget that our monthly ritual is still ongoing, the month of July. On Wednesday, the last day of this month, tomorrow, we will conclude it. This morning, I have gone to the temple to pray, make declaration, and speak positivity into the lives of those that join us. Remember, you can join us in this group ritual anywhere you are all over the world. Distance is not a barrier in our deep consultation or in our spiritual activities and rituals. You can join us anywhere you are. This group ritual was started almost 3 years now. And I can tell you lots of people are joining us all over the group. And we have lots of testimonies. But you know how our system is. We don't share testimonies or showing our spiritual activities in social media platforms or in Ezeoku TV. You know why? It's not necessary. But I can tell you we have lots of testimonies. Because there is this principle that governs the whole universe. Once you use the right key, you will get the right answer. So if you are interested in joining us, people have started booking for the month of August. What you need to do is to chat me on WhatsApp, make token donation to the account number, forward your 3 prayer requests. We place your 3 prayer requests in the altar. That's why now go for doing prayers, declaration upon your lives and your prayer requests. The last day of the month, we do lots of salaka and sacrifices. We visit the river with eatable things to offer sacrifice on behalf of all. Then we proceed back to the temple to offer sacrifices to entities of powers in the temple on behalf of all. We kill ram and do saraka. People normally come around to eat and marry. I can tell you there's massive testimony in these military rituals. So if you're interested to join, meaning is an avenue for us to pray on behalf of our fans, people that join us monthly, friends of the temple and children of the temple. So if you are interested, chat me, or if you have any question in today's lecture, chat me on WhatsApp 0805 7837 I repeat 0805 7837 Before we dive into today's lecture, if you are watching us outside Africa via television channel, maybe you are using smart television, you are watching us via your television at home, not via YouTube or social media platforms. If you are watching us via your television channel outside Africa, please chat me on WhatsApp. You get why. Now, WhatsApp number you will use to get me is, if you are watching from Ezeana TV, look at on your screen, you see the number there. If you are watching from any other social media platforms, you see reach me via this number I will call 0805 7837 I repeat 0805 7837 So if you are watching us outside Africa, then chat me on that number. The second number you will use to get me is 0813 8243 871. I repeat 0813 8243 871. Let's now dive into today's lecture. If you are joining us, share the link. You are following us from social media platforms. Invite your friends to hear from the horse's mouth. Yes, if you are following us from Ezeana TV, tell the people, tell the world about our administrations. As you are doing this, may Chukwu bless you abundantly. Yeah, guys, yeah. Let's now dive into today's lecture. The topic of today is Africa, the first son of God, part 2. There is reason for us to let you know what you should know as an African child. Stop feeling inferior. Don't allow anybody to tell you as an African child that you are less human. Don't allow anyone, be it in Danya, be it in the Obuna, any race all over the world. Don't allow anybody to intimidate you. They will like to intimidate you so that you will look at them as the first, so that you will look at them as superior human beings. They painted us in a way they painted us in order to make us look inferior, so that we will run to them, so that we will be seeing them as gods. But I can tell you, God Almighty, the unmovable mover, Chukwu pụrụ ime ihe niile, created Africans as unique people, the apples of God's eyes. Chukwu loves Africans dearly. Forget about the Bible accounts. Those Bible accounts is concocted stories, is allegorical stories. These are history books brought together in order to enslave us. This is the time of truth, this program. So what I will tell you here is truth and nothing but the truth. If only you will listen to me and the fact, reason with me. Don't be biased. Even if you belong to any other world religion, or you are not even an African person, relax your mind. Any reason, maybe you believe because you are older and you are a white person, you believe that Africa are less women, or you believe that Africa are the least or the third world. Come with your own logic. Come with your own fact. Whatever that is not proven, not logical, is unacceptable. Yes. Don't accept all these cock and book stories. Yes, in the Bible. Let me tell you how by this Bible you are looking at. You know, like me as a person, I don't believe that Bible is the word of Chukwu. You know why? Because those stories there are man-made stories. Some history stories, some facts, some my stories. All of them, those stories that our fathers used to tell us during moonlight stories about tortoise and rest of them and the other rest of animals. All those stories is what they use to cook this word, this book called Bible. The book is highly distorted. The contents of that book cannot stand the test of time. Logical. I have so many reasons and so many lacuna, so many statements therein that it can never proven. Can't prove it. So it's highly distorted book that is not based on fact. But why I normally reference it is because I can start quoting some of the ancient books. I can start quoting those ancient books. Yes, because if I start quoting those ancient books, you have not read them. If I start now to quote some of the books that have been there since millennia, you know, in Africa, we have a way we normally write our own documents. We use cards and so many used method in ancient time. In history, Africa has been documented in BC, in the millennia, like the 3rd and 4th centuries. We have been documenting. But some of these people, when they invaded Africa, they destroyed some of these facts. Some of them stole some of these history books. They call it lost book in the Bible. Have you heard about lost book in the Bible? We have the many. That is why they put that in the Bible, the Revelation, last chapter in the Revelation, that if everything that happened was written in the Bible, that no book will contain it. The truth of the matter is that we have lots of books like Book of the Dead. Yes, we have so many ancient books that they will later rewrite, like the Book of Death that was later written by a German in 1551 BC, millennia. So what I'm telling you in essence that I don't want to start putting those ancient books, because in those ancient books you will see the truth. But if the book you have read since you were born are minus academical book, the only book you read that is spiritual books is only Bible. Believe in me, you have not seen it all. Because Bible is a book they wrote asking you to have faith that even if you don't understand it, you should swallow everything in the name of faith. So, because they understand that some of the things written there is not logical, it can't be proven. I would like to give you some instances. Some of these books is a scam. That's why some people will tell you that all this is a scam. You know why? Because some of the original writers, they drop the names of the original writers of those historic books, ancient books, gave it to whoever they like the book of Proverbs. They will tell you that it's written by Solomon, but actually it's not written by Solomon. It's one of the ancient stories in the ancient book. So I thank God today you can see search some of these ancient books from Google, thanks to social media. But I can tell you, lots of lies was told against Africa and our origin and who we are. They painted us black. Like the 5 books given to Moses, that Moses is the author. That was not true, despite the distortions. They give book of Genesis, Numbers, and Leviticus, and rest of them. 5 of them, they said is written by Moses. Then, how can a book written by Moses will give account of how Moses died? Some of these stories are concocted stories, I can tell you. Is akukwa. So, but I still want to use it to explain some certain things, because if I did not base my explanation based on what you know, you cannot be able to key in. You will not be able to understand. That is why I quote it. I can't start quoting out there in a spiritual book called Uncommon, Deep Thoughts. If I start quoting it, you have not read it. So, it's written by our fathers. And the one thing I like about our spiritualists is we put the right peg in the right hole. You know why? We will tell you if these books are holy books written by humans. Yes, we said. But in the Christendom, they will tell you that the book written by human, that is the word of God. So everything they will now try to intimidate you by telling you is the word of God, therefore you don't challenge it. But I can tell you those things are word of man. Like even the letter St. Paul wrote to Corinthians, Romans, Ephesus, and rest of them, is it not letter written by man? Is Paul now God? Is he not word of man, word to console his brethren? Is he not word of man? Why twisting everything? So that once they mention it, the word of God, you will start jittering. You will swallow everything. So let me, if you have not watched my lecture, Africa, the First Son of God, part 1, you are really missing a lot. It is an eye-opener lecture. I raise lots of questions concerning the originality and the inclusion and Africa. Today, I'm here to expand it. But before I do so, let me ask you, digress a little bit into the part 1. I raised some vital questions. I ask you, biblical account gave 2 accounts in Genesis chapter 1, how human was created, man and woman. But the name of that first man created was never mentioned. In Genesis chapter 2, don't see those chapters as what just happened in the same day. No. Sometimes it takes years before the chapter 2 event will come in. So in chapter 2 of Genesis, he now gave account how Adam and Eve was created. We were told that Adam was created and from the dust. Yes. And he gave birth into that molded woman. He became Adam. That is the account. Now, and we are told again that when that first man, Adam, according to that story in Genesis 2, a rib from the man was taken to mold the woman. So, but the first creation that was given mandate to dominate was never mentioned. And we are told that they were created man and woman. So, and in the same Bible account, Genesis 2, going down, you will see, we are told that Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel as their men's children, and have Sat, their sister, and the rest of them. Now, when Cain killed his brother Abel, he ran to another town, and he mentioned telling God that he doesn't want people to kill him. Who are those people he referring? He referring to people of Nod, because before then there was a town called Nod that has been in existence. So when he ran to the town of Nod, he got married. Who are the parents of that woman he got married to? That is descendant of Africa. Yes. But the way they arrange their stories is to silence in everything that concerns Africa. They never mention the name of that woman that Cain got married to. Rather, because they don't want to mention that the woman is a daughter of Africa. Now, instead, they mention that the woman that Cain got married to and Cain, their first son, is called Enoch. And the little place where they reside, Cain named that city Enoch City. Are you following? So to tell you that these people systematically, they don't want to mention everything concerning Africa and how the entire creation started in Africa. I can tell you, I ask so many questions. If the biblical story that every human being started from Adam and Eve, yes, from Ndanya, now in the Garden of Eden, yes. So because we are told that they are staying in Western Eden. Now, If the whole world originated from it, I have some questions to ask you, you that is listening to me. Assuming Adam and Eve are, and let's say Adam is AA, Eve is AB, or if is AC. Okay, if is AS. Let's say Adam is AA, Eve is AS, or vice versa. Now, how come on earth we have other blood group like sickle cell? How? Now, if Adam and Eve are AA, how come AS coming? Are you following? So you can see that we have various blood groups, even genotype. If actually Adam and Eve are the mother of the entire race in the world, why is it that African gene is stronger than the rest of the world gene? That is where we have this the cis erythroid and the rest of them. You know the story. Now, how come our gene is stronger? There are some certain things that African gene has that the white people doesn't have. You must have heard about cis erythroid. So what I want to tell you today is this. Africa, in my own account and research, Africa is the entire human creation. Yes. And the Genesis 1 made mention that God created man and woman, but the name was never mentioned. So they have their own different gene. Are you following? Then in Genesis 2, we were told that Adam and Eve, that was created. Now, let me tell you how the Asians came in. Are you following? If I'm quoting my own fact, quote your own fact. Now, the Asians came in, you know the biblical story, how Abraham, from a descendant of Adam, traveled to far distant Africa in search of greener pasture. He came to Africa, then to cut the whole story short, after marrying his sister, Sarah, he came to Africa and got married to his second wife called Hagar. That Hagar is an African daughter. She has an African blood. Are you following? Then having gotten married to Hagar, who has African blood, Abraham and the Hagar, they slept like husband and wife. And they gave birth, meaning two different blood groups. The blood group of Adam and Eve. Are you following? And the blood group of the first creation, man and woman, that was never mentioned. That I'm telling you that first creation in Genesis 1 is the Africans. When they got married, by virtue of missing the blood of the Africans and the Asians, they gave birth to Ishmael. Have you seen where the mixed blood came in? Because in bloods we have different varieties of it. So when African blood and the European blood mix, definitely will give you something different. Let's say that the African woman Hagar has a AS example. Then let's say that the other people has a secular. I'm just giving you an illustration. then there is tendencies that they will have AS and they have secular. I'm trying to tell you how the mixed blood of African descendants and the Adam descendants can create another type of blood group, meaning the Asians. Remember, the offspring of that African woman, Hagar, and Abraham, the offspring is called Ishmael. Yes. So Ishmael is the father of the Asians. He built the kingdom known as the Babylonian Empire that later revenged on the Jewish people and defeated them during the Babylonian Empire. Then when that Ishmael came of age, the mother got a wife from Africa for his son. Now you can see another multiplication of a mixed blood of Asia got married to African woman, meaning they can still get Asian blood. I want to tell you how this multiplication of blood groups and whatever came in. Now, as I've already told you about this, so if actually all of us are from the origin, is only from Adam and Eve as they made us to believe, because they will take the originality that started in Africa, take it their own corner, nationalize it, and claim the originality. That has been their tactics. So if Adam and Eve are our first parents of the entire human race, why is it that there is so much broad group and the genotypes, everything differ? Why? I know you don't have any answer to give on this. Are you following? So, but I can tell you why all these things are different is because Africa is a different creation entirely. They are stronger. Yes, because they have seasonal fruit. Now, why the Europeans are created different, and why Africa remained the first son of God? Let me ask you a question. Have you in entire 10 read that any country dominated as any country that Pharaoh ever served any king in the history of the world? Have you ever had that? Have you ever heard that Pharaoh served any European nation? Go to Google, you'll find out that civilization started in Africa, in Egypt. They are Africans. They are living in the uphill, Nugu. That place is cooler. Bible stories to tell you that Bible is a concorded and lie book. Yes. We were told that their story is 2,000 years ago, and the Bible story was like giving the world about 6,000 years ago. But I can tell you, there is this pyramid in Egypt. The oldest pyramid is in Egypt and Sudan. Have lasted over 6,000 years. And no history book will claim that Pharaoh served anybody. Civilization to start to put the intelligence, to have organized farming, to know what food is and farming is all about, to know about civilization, the importance of having king and everything started in Africa, in Egypt. So Egypt remained the first continent, Africa remained the first continent that has a king, has harmonized system of food security and the leadership. Do you know that first university was built in Africa? Do you know that all these great minds that Africa is molding the great minds. Even the great Aristotle schooled in Africa, and after being trained, he now trained Plato and rest of them. All these great minds started and schooled in Africa. That's where they got the wisdom. Like their stories always look like. After Aristotle schooled in Africa, got the African wisdom and the wisdom, he went back to Athens, Greece, and they established his school of thought, and now claiming that civilization started in Greece, Athens, which is not true. So they have been in the game of taking the originality of that is started in Africa, they take it to their place, galvanize it, and claim originality. So for you to know where civilization started, every nation, who are their fathers? They normally mention in the Bible. You that will tell me Ole in God and also. The top people they will mention. They will mention Abraham. Abraham was broke. Abraham, in search of greener pasture, Abraham ran to Egypt for greener pasture, where he got married, and he even used his wife to trade by denying that his wife is not his wife, in order to gain access and get favor from Pharaoh. So you can see that the king of Pharaoh, the palace, has been in existence long before their father came. So Africa has been established because Africa is the first son of God. Africa is the first creation. That's what I'm telling you. That is my argument. Are you following? So when Africa was created, in the entire world, every human existence looked towards Africa for survival. Is it the Moses? Moses is a child because Africa was civilized, all of them looked towards Africa for surviving. So some of them came to Africa for greener pasture, lived there, then and they gave birth. The particular woman gave birth, he can't take care of the child, he dropped it by the riverside, and the princess of Pharaoh, a princess from the palace, picked that child up and raised that child. And the child became Moses. You cannot talk about their Jewish religion without talking about Moses, because Moses formulated Jewish religion. So African spirituality is older than Jewish religion. Are you following? Moses is the founder of Jewish religion. Moses was raised in Africa. He schooled in Africa. He grew up in the palace. So he understands all the rituals, African way of worship and spirituality perfectly well. But when he killed African person, in order to protect his own brother, a Jewish person, he ran away from the king. And before you know it, he came back to take his people back home. So are you following? So when he learned our spirituality, the way we live our life, he used the same system of worship he learned from Africa to formulate the Jewish religion. That is why Jewish religion is almost similar in African religion. Are you following? In Jewish religion, they offer sacrifices. They offer sacrifice of the birds. The way we use birds in our spiritual work here, they use bird there. Remember the parakuku and the dove and everything they use. We use them there in our own work. They use ram, yechop, and rest of them. So Moses learned all this trade, the Jewish belief and the philosophy. From what he learned from Africa, he used it, take it back home and use it to formulate the Jewish. Is it Samson? I want you to name those prominent people of the Jewish people that you tell their story without mentioning Africa. Then you read, is it Abraham, their father of faith? You can't mention Abraham's story without mentioning Africa's story. You can't mention Moses without mentioning Africa. You can't mention Jacob without mentioning Africa. You can't mention them, all their top leaders, their elders, their ancestors in the Bible, that will tell their stories without mentioning Africa. Because Africa is the fountain. All civilizations started in Africa. Even the documentary in the Bible in the 4th century, they will tell you the story of Pharaoh. You cannot tell the word story or tell the story in the Bible without mentioning Pharaoh. Civilization started here. Don't allow them to tell you or tell you that you are third world. Don't allow them to tell you that you are less human being. They are more interested in us. They know that there is something that in us that made us tick. Our glory. They became envious of us. Civilization, my quotation today and the argument remains that Africa remained the first son of God because civilization started in Africa. No other Anyari people can never claim that civilization started in their land. No. Before they came to our land, Africa has started. For a town of Nod, N-O-D, to have name, meaning that there was people, the settlement, people have been living there. Remember, their own place don't even have name. Yes, it's Western Eden. Place they know as Canaan. Are you following? But for not to have a name, meaning that people have been living there, for that place to have name. So civilization even started before Adam was born. Before Adam and Eve was born. Civilization has started in Africa. Even to the extent that even child of Adam and Eve, Cain, can get married. Somebody's daughter to marry there. So what I'm telling you in essence, don't allow them to intimidate you by telling you that you are third world, that you are not human beings, that you are this and that. Those stories is the cock and bull stories they wrote in order to bring our morale down. If you're an African child, you have to be proud of yourself. That civilization started in Africa. Let me tell you another thing that will shock you. For the fact that Africa is the first son, yes, first creation, Africans took the best portion of the world inheritance. Are you surprised? Africa took the best of them all. The way first sons normally take the lion's share. Africa took the best environment, the best weather, the biggest wealth. You know that the largest wealth deposit, mineral resources of the world is lying in the African soil. You know, no single world wealth, mineral deposit that you cannot see in Africa. No, none. So Africa took the best soil formations. Africa has the best soil formations. Africa has the best weather. Africa has the best mineral deposits. You know why it's possible? Do you think in scheme of things that if these people are here before us, that they will leave even as a better place for us? They will never. So, because Africa has been in existence very much longer time before their own existence. So Africa understand the best portion. So Africa took the best, the Eastern Eden. No, Africa live for North Africa. For North Africa, all African descendants spread. So we ask you, why is it that we are not white? Yes, we are not white like our African brothers, the Egyptians. It's because we are living in the East. The Eastern Africans move towards the sun. Yes. After the Tower of Babel, they move towards the East because in search of the sun. So that's why some of our Africans, we move towards the East. And because we move closer to the East, the weather is hotter. The sunshine is heavier. So it makes our skin to be a little bit darker than our brothers that are living in the cooler region, the Northern Africa. So the Egyptians are living in Northern Africans, the Egyptians, the Australians, the Moroccans, the Tunisians, and the rest of them, they are living in North. Their region is very cool. So you maintain the original color. The way if you give birth to a baby now, an infant, you will snap that infant picture now. You will notice that that infant is a little bit lighter skin. But by the time that child is about 20, 25, 30 years, the skin of that child will be darker because of hustling and bustling and the exposure to the sun. So it is constant exposure to the sun that changes our skin. Now, but for the Anyari people, some people will be arguing, if actually we are the first son, how about development? Why is it that they have advanced technology-wise than us? Let me tell you what you will know. Most people, most families believe that the first son always stay broke than his siblings. Africa, everybody is looking towards Africa for survival. Remember, Abraham used to come to Africa for greener pasture, and they haven't found out that Africa has so many things: best weather for farming, best mineral resources, and everything. When they went back, they became jealous of Africa. Now, when they became jealous of Africa and the best and the blessing of Africa, you know what they did? They now knew that the only way they can take dispossess of us of what we have is by fire, by force. They went back to drawing board. Africa is the first son, maintain peace and tranquility. You know what they did? They went back and they formulated arms, firearms, guns. They used, knowing fully well that with, the way, because some of you that are asking me questions, you the landlord, the house owner, you did not offend anybody. You are living in your compound quietly, enjoying your life. But somebody that did not know how you suffer to make your money will be jealous and envious of you. You see what the person will do? The person will go far beyond your preparation because he wants to dispossess you what you have. I can tell you that civilization started in Africa. We have king, we have palace. The motto they are talking about in those olden days is chariot. The king move with chariot and they move, do like motorcade on it. The king will move it. That time they don't have anything. They don't have even chariots at all. So for civilization, they normally come to Africa. So having seen the wealth in Africa, they went back to drawing board the way criminals, armed robbers, once having seen that you are far better than them, what they will do is to go back to the drawing board to look for arms, to look for weapons which you don't have. They will invade your house as a landowner to dispossess you of all the valuables you have. The same thing is what these people did. They went back having known that we don't have guns, because we don't have guns for anything. We are the rich people. Everything works out for good. So they went and formulated guns. They used those guns to intimidate Africa. They invaded Egypt, pulled down the Egypt, destroy all the facts. In fact, if they see how they can take the ancient story site, yes, Tower of Babel, they will do that. They destroy some of the historic book. They destroy some of the historical sites. They took that is how they destroyed the old Egypt. You never heard about it. They went all to Africans. They started trying to rule over us. You know about them, and later have Roman Empire and rest of them. The Greek Empire, all those things, they use it. Some of these people will rise to dominate. What are their target? Their target is just to dispossess of our mineral resources. So at a stage, they begin to go to African countries. They share among African countries among themselves. What are they searching for? Mineral deposits. The Congo, by the Netherlands, they share it among the Netherlands. There is present-day Holland. You know, some of you that normally ask me, how can they locate North? Some of these countries change names. Some of these countries change names. Okay, even in recent time, do you know that Ghana was formerly known as Gold Coast? Are you following? Mm-hmm. So, so some of these African countries change names. You know that even Nigeria is not for our first name. Do you know? Before the colonial master, is the colonial masters that gave us this name, Niger area, because River Niger is linked with River Nile in Egypt. So our forefathers followed the sea towards this area. Are you following? So now what I'm telling you is that's why some of these ancient names, towns, lost their real names. That some of us will not trace them again. But some still maintain their own, like Ethiopia. So what I'm telling you in essence is that what they did is to destroy Africa. So they share African countries, African geographical maps by themselves. They share it, the German, the Irish people, the Americans, the British people, they share it. What are they looking for? What are they actually looking for? What are they looking for is mineral resources. They took away our mineral resources to develop their place. I have been to India. I've traveled from the vast India, traveled even up to northern India. A town called Kulu Manali. I have been there. So you see virgin lands, the way the nature created them. So see what these people did. on our own. They took all our mineral resources. They developed. How are these Europe we are talking about? You use it to judge Africa. How is it Europe in the 4th century, in the millennia, in the BC? How are they looking at? So what they did is that they invented, how many thousands years this world has been. See what they did? They invaded Africa with weapons. Yes, pull down our king system with guns. Even what happened in this kingdom. Don't you know that we have a kingdom in Igbo land called the kingdom? Eze-Ana. They mesmerize everything, pull our kingdoms down, use force of gun to make us to surrender our mineral resources. They build rail tracks, they build roads. Wherever there is mineral resources, they build rail track there. And they keep taking our mineral resources back to their place. Have you asked yourself, remember that time when Queen died, their Queen died? I remember I watched that on tele, where they show a massive warehouse filled with gold. Those gold, did they pay for it? Those gold is gold they took away from Africa. They took gold away from Africa. They colonized Ghana, the Gold Coast, and everything. They took everything. Even that, don't you know that Nigeria have gold? They took everything to use it to enrich their own economy. Every move, every investment they had in Africa is for selfish gain. There's no single thing they did in Africa that was born out of genuine love, even till death. Do you know today that they're still coming in Africa to use our people for experiments? Anytime they want to do experiments, they use our people. Anytime they want to do experiments, they use our people. Now, their father in America now using our people, get foundation to do what? For Africans, for experiments. Sometimes they call it Ogbuefi vaccinations. But I don't want to go there today. What I want to tell you is that Africa, shine up. We are not the least. We are the head. Creation started here. And we have what they don't have. That's why they are jealous of us. That's why they invaded Africa. That's why they tell negative stories about us. They fabricate their story, the storybook called Bible. In the same their book, we say tell you that Lucifer is beautiful, is the morning star, meaning the morning star. Now, in order to castigate us, they painted Satan black. Yes, this is somebody they acknowledge that is very beautiful when he was in paradise, according to them. When he fell out, they now paint him black. Because they want to take negative story about us. So whatever that is negative, they paint it black. These are cock and bull stories. Have you asked yourself, why is it that anywhere you see the picture of Satan, they paint Satan black? So whatever that is black, they paint it to us. What I can tell you that all these things was done in bad faith. And the simple reason for all these things is to give us bad name. As African child, wake up. Stop stumbling. Let the bandage of the colonial masters, the slave masters, fall from your eyes. For you to discover who you are, and for you, African child, wake up. We are not the least. Rather, Africa is the first son of God. Quote me anywhere. Africa has been in existence. Africa has been in existence before, and the civilization started in Africa before any other race started. Let me stop here. If you have any question in today's lecture, chat me on WhatsApp 0805-7837-672. I repeat, 0805-7837-672. Asị m na ọ bụrụ na ọnwa egwu oji eji wetu aja emechaa na ọya ekwu ome. If you have any question, chat me on WhatsApp, or if you want us to do the consultation for you, chat me also on WhatsApp. See you tomorrow and on the program Hour of Truth. Ka emesịa.